Hey, Honors Physics, we're going to take a look at tension problems. So open up your packet, find page 20. Tension problems with pulleys get a little bit interesting. Okay, so let's first examine a little more detail on tension, right? So a tension is actually always a third law pair. A tension in a rope, which is the fiber that's connecting the block and the hand, right, is basically pulling simultaneously on the block with the exact same force as the hand. So that is always true. And you say, well, what if there's a pulley involved? Still the same force. Now, some pulleys have friction, in which case then the pulling force has to be bigger than the force that comes out. And that's something that is in AP Physics. But for our cases, we're going to call them frictionless pulleys. So whether it's bent 90 degrees or it's bent really 180 degrees, the two tensions are force pairs, or an easy way to remember that is the tension is the same everywhere in a rope. So if we apply that, and now we create a system, and you're not going to be expected to build these, but they're kind of cool. These ropes in pulley systems involve one rope, so that means there's one tension throughout the entire rope, but it bends multiple times. So here's a person trying to lift a load down here on the bottom. And the pulleys are attached directly to it. And what you notice is the person's straining quite a bit, and they're applying a tension. And you might say, well, then the tension on the load is the same. But because the rope goes over this pulley, what we get when it goes around the second and back up is, do you notice that the rope is effectively means kind of the way to interpret it, is it's actually creating two tensions that are both upward on the load. And even though they're going through the pulley, how many times does the rope, even though it's one rope, how many times does it effectively pull up on the system? And the answer is twice. So this small load down here would have two forces of tension from the same rope. The pulley's just bending it. And then the force of gravity would be the same, right, in all of these pictures. So do you see what is said at the top? The person that's pulling it is only pulling one tension. But if you notice, there are two tensions that are equal, right? Two forces of tension plus gravity adds up to, let's say this is, maybe we're just holding the object, so they add up to 0. So what you get is a force of gravity that's equal to two forces of tension, or another way of saying that is the tension would be half of the weight of the object. So the sum of the forces, right, is 2 FTs plus FG. In the next more complicated pulley system, it's, by the way, also called a block and tackle, you have how many different ropes touching the load or the pulley at the bottom. And I see one tension pulling up, another tension pulling up, and a third. Because remember, they pull in both directions. Yes, that means they also pull down on the other pulleys, but now we have three forces of tension. 1, 2, 3. And then a force of gravity. So three forces of tension plus force gravity are on the load. And do you see what that does? That lowers the tension to 1/3 of the weight. So do you see the advantage here? One person can lift effectively a much larger load depending on the pulley system. Now this one's weird. What is this hand from coming above? Well, maybe someone's up on the scaffolding and they have their hand on the rope and it's a complicated pulley system. Now look at this really interesting situation. Because the person's pulling up, we have a tension pulling up, we have another tension, a third, and now we have 4. So what you do is you count the number of times the rope essentially attaches itself to the load, right? Count the number of times it contacts. And you might say, but it's not touching it, it's touching this upper pulley. But this is a metal bar. So essentially, they're all touching the load. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's not even room. So 4 forces of tension plus force gravity, or 1/4. And the name for this is kind of cool. This is not really part of our course. It's called a mechanical advantage. When the force that you put in, that is a human effort, does not equal the force that you get out, right? So in this case, you get 3 times, in the middle one, you get 3 times the lifting power. In the third one, you get 4 times the lifting power. In the first one, you get 2 times. So this would be called a mechanical advantage of 2, 3, and 4, because it's a ratio of how much force you get out divided by how much force you get in. So a little enrichment there for those of you maybe looking at mechanical engineering, okay? So let's take a look at 2 different ways to do, maybe set up a rope to do some work, or maybe even to do some rock climbing. So what if you're painting a building, you're attached to a pulley system, and you tie it off according to picture 1? How many times does the rope touch the load or the person? 1 time. And then the rope comes down, so the rope that's touching the flagpole has the same tension, but the force tension here would be equal to what? It would have to be strong enough to hold up the person's weight. So that's not a mechanical advantage, right? That rope would have to be very, very strong. But if you were to have the pulley, the rope go up to the pulley, and then you bring it down and you tie it off to your harness or to the chair that you're sitting on, well, now what you get is the tension, right, is equal to half of the force of gravity, because each of these ropes only has to hold half of the person's body weight. Let's go to 1. So what I'd like you to do now is to kind of analyze and take a look. And yes, there's a third type. We've got 3 ropes pulling up on the system. And of course you might say, well, the person's pulling down. Yes, but that would be a force on the rope. What are the forces that are on the object that's being suspended in question? 3 tension forces, so a mechanical advantage of 3. He would only have to pull 1/3 of his body weight. And here's a little silly example. This is called Nellie Newton. Nellie is from an old textbook we used to use. And Nellie is a trapeze artist. How much tension does it have to be in each of the ropes? And what are these little devices? These are scales. This is like an older way that you'd measure force. Think of it as like a fishing scale, or maybe for hunting game. It's like a spring, and depending on how far the spring stretches, that determines how much force is in the rope. So Nellie by herself, she must weigh 300 newtons. Why? Because when there's only 1 tension, it's equal and opposite. Now there's 2 ropes. So each rope, in order to maintain the equilibrium, only has to be 150. She's still 300, so it's 100 here. Now, I want you to try the other 2 and see if you get the hang of it. You may not be able to tell what she's doing in this 5th picture. Her hand is holding onto the side of a ledge, and she's got 1 hand on the cable. And we've already seen some pulleys, so this one should be straightforward, maybe easy for you. This one is the one that causes some questions, so I'm going to make sure we ask about that in class. Okay, 22. Here's the first setup. So I want you to approach this problem and find, in each of these cases, most of the time, it's what is the acceleration of the system, right? How much acceleration does the system encounter? And the system is this whole box plus the person in it, right? This whole thing, that's the load, right? Don't try to separate the person from the scaffolding. And what you're going to do is you're going to need to look at the picture and figure out a force diagram. And the force diagram represents how many forces of tension plus the weight of the person. We've got a force of gravity. And if you look carefully, it actually shows you all the up arrows. They're small, but there's 3 forces of tension, and they have to be identical, because if it's 1 rope, then they're all the same. And I believe we're given that the weight of the worker in the scaffolding is 155 kilograms. And I bet you're going to do 155 times negative 9.8. I'm going to do 155 times negative 10 meters per second squared. That's how you find the weight of an object, or negative 1550. So how would we find the acceleration? A equals the sum of the forces over the mass, rewriting Newton's second law. How many tensions are there? 3 forces of tension. We know that the tensions are 540 newtons apiece. Okay, plus the force of gravity over the mass. So 3 times 540 minus 1550 over the mass of 155 kilograms. So that's how you set up one of these problems. In each of them, the number of ropes attaching is a little bit different. Try 22. And let's see, do I also have you doing page 23? Page 23 is a little more challenging. There used to be more parts, but there's room here to do 4 separate calculations for different configurations. What if there is no acceleration? Find the force of tension. What if there's an upward acceleration? What if there's a constant velocity? Now, a lot of people don't quite know how to interpret this. I've had this. So basically for part C and D, the picture is different. The carriage is still here. Maybe this is going down into a mine. It goes up to a pulley, but you have it attached to another person, not to yourself. So a coworker is pulling to the side, and you know that that's going to change the tension because there is only one rope attached to the system, whereas here there's 2. Good luck doing 22 and 23 and submitting.